Are you all right to go on right now? Are you?
Fine, yes.
Okay.
Hi.
Thank you very much.
I apologize.
No problem. She represents the families of Flight 93.
Okay. Members of the Commission, Mr. Keene, honored guests, my name is Allison Vadhan, and I lost my very young 65-year-old mother, Kristin Gould, on United Flight 93, the plane that crashed in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, while the passengers and crew tried to overcome the hijackers. I'd like to thank the Commission for inviting me to speak today. I've always had a strong inner faith, and I still believe that God doesn't give us what we can't handle. Being here today and you're hearing my voice and our voices in place of our loved ones is a privilege. My mother, a graduate from Cornell University and a medical journalist, preferred to spend her vacation time visiting ancient cities to learn about ancient civilizations. Before I knew that she was flying that day, I had already witnessed the second tower of the World Trade Center explode into an orange fireball. And I saw with my own eyes the great black mushroom cloud rise above the New York City skyline, not far from my own home. I'm sure most Americans today remember the sinking feeling when it was obvious that not only the World Trade Center had come under terrorist attacks, but that there were other planes in trouble, along with fires and explosions in Washington. And then there was news about a plane down in Pennsylvania. Before the day was over, we all knew that this was war. By the Christmas holidays, we faced the anthrax attacks, the attempted bombing of the plane from Paris to Miami, which was averted to Boston by Richard Reed, the discovery of an American, John Walker Lindh, who was captured as a Taliban rebel in Afghanistan. How many other plans were there? It felt like each day could be the next day for an attack. Most of us would turn on the TV first thing in the morning to see if the world had changed overnight. Finally, it seemed crystal clear to citizens as well as governments that the U.S. is a prize target for Al-Qaeda. And this could possibly happen again and again and again, whether they actually hit or just miss. I am concerned not only about my own 3 children and if the U.S. will be as strong as it has been in the 20th century, I am also concerned about what is already being taught to children in madras schools this year, last year, 5 years ago. 6 days after my mother was killed, our family traveled to Shanksville, Pennsylvania for the memorial services for the families of Flight 93. After the services, I went back to my hotel room for some quiet time, and when I turned on the TV, a reporter in Pakistan was interviewing 8 and 10-year-old boys at school. Their computer screensavers bounced pictures of Osama bin Laden. We've discovered that there is another generation being trained and raised to become terrorists when they grow up. I can tell you that forgetting and trying to move on is a survival mechanism, and it's part of human nature. The pain of trying to envision what my mother might have been going through and experienced on that plane is so great that it's almost only normal to try to forget about it and think about something else. But trying to forget is an indulgence for any American who saw what we saw. Al-Qaeda and similar cells around the world are training their young ones. If Americans don't prepare for this next generation, we have only ourselves in this room to hold accountable. I am concerned about civil liberties as an excuse for not taking action to prevent terrorism. I'm concerned about how many untold cases there are of federal and local agencies not being able to properly investigate a potential terrorist. At the time, FBI investigators could not obtain a criminal search warrant to inspect the laptop computer of Zacarias Moussaoui because supervisors in Washington, D.C. thought there was no probable cause. Now that we know our laws for investigating are outdated and no longer appropriate, I am concerned that we will choose not to fix them in the name of protecting civil liberties rather than protecting the lives of American civilians. President Bush effectively made us aware that we are fighting a new kind of war. And if the battlefield is here at home, waged by specific groups from specific areas around the world, in the name of a specific religion, I am concerned that avoiding racial profiling will supersede preventing further terrorism. And the enemy knows this. Terrorism is similar to the guerrilla warfare we hear about going on in Iraq. Militants pose themselves as ordinary citizens and immigrants here in the United States. They appear so clean-cut they could fit in at any golf course. And they do this to remain undetected until they carry out their terrorist goals. If we're lucky, they're dressed in their customary dress. They're wearing their traditional non-Western clothing. As long as we allow groups to be protected from racial profiling, how can we win this new war? And after seeing those little boys in the Madras schools, which are sponsored by Osama bin Laden and the like, our children and grandchildren will, with no uncertainty, face a very dangerous existence, especially if we try to forget and move on. The people who died on September 11th were the first casualties in this new war. It is our responsibility not to let them die in vain. I hope we learn from our mistakes and prevent our children from having to deal with the problems that their parents and grandparents could have and should have addressed with action and resolve. Thank you for inviting me and other families to speak today. I believe that we all share the same goal in making our country and our world a safer place. I hope the outcome of the Independent Commission is to learn from the past so that history will not repeat itself.